What's going on, YouTube and cryptocurrency family? My name is Harry, and I'm the Crypto Vet, and thank you for tuning back in. I took a couple days off to do some stuff with the family, so I really appreciate you guys being patient with me. Trying to balance like life, work, and YouTube is a little more difficult than I thought, but I promise I haven't forgot about you guys. I will be updating the Discord back up today. We had the inauguration here in the U.S. Yesterday when Biden was sworn in as the next U.S. president, I think 46th president, but lots of exciting things happening. We are seeing a little bit of a dump in the market, so I'm going to get into that. So if you like all this information, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Yes, I know my hair is crazy. It is getting very, very long. Excuse me. And I do need to get a haircut. I'm sure Melody will take care of that for me sometime today because she keeps telling me how damn long it's getting. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at XRP Veterinarian. Growing pretty fast. I appreciate you guys. I hope the information I do bring is worth something. And I'll keep doing my best to bring stuff forward. But let's go ahead and get started here on CoinMarketCap. We can see Bitcoin's down to 31,000. We've broken some key support. Same with Ethereum. XRP got all the way up to 30. It's been fighting at 30, getting rejected, coming back down, finding support, and lots of red across the board here. As far as our biggest gainers, we still do have some cryptos that are moving up from HBAR, another project that potentially has some room. I've only done a little bit of research on it, but I'm getting into it now for you guys. And then as far as our biggest losers here, we have Engine Coin, which had a huge pump, showing a little bit of a correction here. SNX, again, what it did go up, it came back down again. So let's go ahead and head over to Bitcoin. And right now, we had this symmetrical triangle forming for Bitcoin, and this triangle was after we've been in this big megaphone here. We've been finding support at the top of this megaphon's resistance line here. We overcame it, turned it into support, and then we formed a head and shoulders pattern. And then in this head and shoulders, in the right shoulder, we found another head and shoulder pattern, and we kind of formed a second right shoulder. And you get where I'm going with this, right? We've had a lot of bearish technicals. We've had a decrease in the RSI while also having an increase in price, which is a bearish divergence, usually signifying a trend reversal. So if we've been going up, most likely that we would come down. And although we've had all this momentum, we're still on a bull run. This doesn't mean that this is the end of Bitcoin. It just means that we are in the spot of where we're most likely going to have a correction. Now, we have broken out of this symmetrical triangle on the 4-hourly, but that doesn't mean that it's done yet, right? I would prefer to see a come up back up to around 33.5, get rejected, and then we would continue to the downside. If that doesn't happen, say we come up, we could just be extending out this pattern, right? And let's say we kind of draw it out, and now it becomes something more like this, and this was an outlier, right? We don't know. But for what we do know right now is that this was the pattern that we have been in, and we now broke below it, and now we need to see what's the action of the market. Are we going to continue to go to the downside, or are we going to go, nope, that's not the case, and come up? And now this could all be due to yesterday, the swearing in of President Biden, and he's signing, I think, 13 or so executive orders. I'm still looking into these said executive orders to see if any of these may potentially go against Bitcoin. I know the stock market has had a little bit of a rough end at the same time because people don't like change. So this is just fear of change. So whether or not any of these executive orders even do anything to affect businesses in the stock market or cryptocurrencies in general, the fear that they might causes a little bit of a sell-off, and that's what I've seen in changes of power, new changes in regulation, anything like that, right? We saw it with XRP when we had this sell-off. The potential change in regulation caused people to get scared, so we dumped to the downside, right? Now, with the potential that it could change everything, whether it's real or not, people get scared, right? So this is why you can't just go, oh, it dropped below, need to dump everything, because we don't know yet, right? And I'll continue to investigate for us to see if we can find anything else. But as we wait here right now, we can go ahead and see what would be the most bearish scenario that we could potentially see, right? And I do expect that Bitcoin will actually come up to potentially try to overcome this. We do have a flat line of resistance right here. If I was to take a horizontal ray down here to the bottom where these wicks and candle bodies were, and you can see that we are kind of in that that key spot where we could potentially see a bounce, and this would be more of a descending triangle, still a bearish pattern, but you know, it's just what's more likely to happen. That doesn't mean it is going to happen. There have been plenty of times where we've had a descending triangle in a shorter time frame that has broken to the upside, not just on Bitcoin but on lots of other assets. But so if we did have a bearish break to the downside after coming up to confirm this support turned resistance, you know, we could be seeing a $20,000 Bitcoin, which again still wouldn't be the end of the world, because $20,000 was the last all-time high, right, for after a huge 3.5 year decline in price. And now we've had a huge uptrend, way too fast or way too quick, as most analysts would agree with me on that. And now it's the big shakeout before another pump. And so we would come up, we come down, we test 20,000, probably not for long, and then we continue back up, right? So if we take this, we can also go ahead and just put a fib retracement on here, and let's go down to the bottom when we were at that megaphone, right to about here, and you can see that this kind of lines up, right? So let's see where we might potentially find a bottom, right? Let's line it up to say the bottom of where we started over here, and we can see that these fib lines are actually lining up a lot better for this break to the downside. So this fib retracement may be more accurately put right here, and we could see good support at the 236, which would only be 50%, I guess, of this decrease to the downside. And if it was fully to the downside, we would probably only wick down to complete out this pattern, and most likely find support on the 21 or the 20 weekly. I think I have it as the 20. Yes. Where's it at? Yep, the 20 weekly exponential moving average. So, you know, I'm not saying to go out there and short Bitcoin, you know, but you are better to short at this point than you would be to long, in my opinion. There's more likelihood to go to the downside than there is to the up, and there has been now for the past like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, whenever this started here, so we're at the 20. Yeah, for about the past 2 weeks, it has looked more bearish than bullish, but there is no guarantee which way it's going to go. You know, say we come back up, get above this triangle, you know, that's going to put us close to a $50,000 Bitcoin, which is, in my opinion, where we're going to head at some point, as long as, you know, all these rulings and stuff don't really hurt cryptocurrency regulation as a whole. So we'll just need to sit back and wait and see what happens here for Bitcoin. But again, wait for a confirmation before shorting, in my opinion. You know, if we come back up and we get rejected here at around 33.5, and then we start to head back down, well, now you'd probably be better off trying to enter a trade here around 33 even, your stop loss being a little bit above 35,000, and your take profit could be way down here. So that would be, let's see, short position, let's say you're going to enter in around 33,000. You'll want your stop loss at a little bit above 35, and your take profit could be, you know, down here. We're talking 4, 5 potentially. Yeah, almost a 5x risk reward ratio there. So, you know, just something to look out for. But, you know, if we go to the other side and, you know, some regulations come out saying, oh, it doesn't actually hurt Bitcoin, all this stuff is actually going to help everything, stimulus, blah, 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 blah. You know, be sure that your stop loss is set there, or after you enter, just put your stop loss at break even. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. Wait for the next one. You're better off waiting for a trade than trying to make a trade happen. Okay, so here for Ethereum, same thing. We were really good, looking like we were going to break 1400 and just go to the moon. However, we came to the downside. We didn't quite get to our high previously, so not as bullish as we'd like. But we are seeming to find good support here down at the 20 daily exponential moving average, and we still have yet to hit this bottom support here on this bullish megaphone. So we will just see if we could hit the bottom of this and maybe have a nice bounce back to the upside, you know, because Ethereum does have a lot of room to grow. As far as like the bearish divergence and things like that, there is a little bit, just like we've seen on Bitcoin here. So we could need to potentially see if this plays out, which may see a trend reversal, but I don't know if we would see as much of a drop as we would on Ethereum as we would on Bitcoin. You know, if we were to go to the downside again, we'll just do the same fib retracement here, same thing we did on Bitcoin, and we can just pull out our fib retracement tool, and we'll come down here to the downside of the previous low. We have our high right up here. And if we look, we can see that we have good lines lining up where we've kind of topped out and where we haven't broken to the bottom. So right here we have the 0.5 that we're finding on, and then the 0.618 here in this golden pocket area. We've seen a lot of activity where we've had trouble. Also in the VPVR we have the point of control is right in this area. So I definitely think that we'll see some good support on Ethereum right here on the 20 daily exponential moving average, and we could see a nice bounce there. But if we do have a break below this support line here and we do confirm up, we can't get above it, you know, it is, again, just like in Bitcoin, very possible that we will go all the way down to the 20 weekly exponential moving average, which is going to be around $655, maybe around the $700 region, $800 region if we can extend it out for a week or so. And then last here, we're still waiting on XRP. Not much news to go off today, although I was on crypto.com and they were supposed to halt trading on the 19th, and I bought some XRP from them yesterday. I wasn't on a VPN, my account's registered in the United States with them for tax purposes, so not sure if they actually halted trading or if this was just kind of like, hey, you know, we're just gonna go and say we're halting trading. But so I was still able to buy it, bought some more just for shits and giggles, but for the same reason here, we're within this Wyckoff accumulation that I've talked about so many times, and we formed a symmetrical triangle as we broke out from this really low point of two different support resistance lines. We still have the top two resistances here that I'm looking for us to break out of, and I'm expecting for us to come up, get above, find good support before going to the upside. So we'll wait for that to see what happens, although if we do have a break to the downside, I don't expect us to get any lower than the 16-17 cent region. I just expect us to drop down to more around the 20 to 23 cent region at this point. And so I don't expect us to go any lower than these two support lines here, but if we did have a break to the downside, you know, that was pretty nasty. We could potentially get lower. As I said, I'm not here to give you that hopium, but a break to the downside would put us slightly lower than our low before. Again, I would think this would only be like a slight wick down. At this point, I don't expect us to come down to retest this trend line here. I think that this point here was as close to retesting this trend line that we would get. If we did go this low, I feel like there might be even more bad news for XRP, and at that point I may reassess how much I would want to rebuy back in. I would still hold for the long term, but I would just have to see what happened at that point to go from there. But again, if we did have a break to the upside with this same pattern, it's still bringing us up to around 44 cents, where I expected we would have some resistance before we would come back up to test 60, 70, and beyond. So we're just going to have to wait and see where we get and go from here. Right now, I think everybody's still worried to see what's going on with these executive orders and the new change of power. I think it'll blow right by as long as there's no crazy crypto regulations that are involved with it. We have about a month before the trial for XRP where we could get some clarity, but I believe that's also the trial for or some sort of legal action with the Tether lawsuit. So a lot of news to wait for here in the next month. You know, this right here could just be a big shakeout where, you know, a lot of people who don't understand what's going to happen are selling, and, you know, you don't want to be in that group if the people with a lot of money are about to be buying all this up and it's about to go to go to the moon. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see about potentially having an update video for later this afternoon. You guys take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.